Welcome to our podcast, When Life Gives You Lemons. I'm Kevin Henry, and my partner in crime in life is Pawnee Henry.
Sounds right.
I have a rare disease known as spinal cerebellar ataxia, which is a neuromuscular disease. This has left me mobility challenges while I speak with a speech impediment, noise-induced anxiety.
Living with these disabilities for over 20 years, we have developed helpful hints and life lessons that we would like to share with you that has made our life easier and possible in some cases. We consider ourselves disability advocates and intend to educate ourselves and you about other disabilities and issues, and also talk about things we find interesting and frequently encounter when we're out and about. Hey, Kevin, welcome to May.
You said that last time.
Oh, can't say
I've
it.
been here to May before.
This is our second episode in May.
Okay.
All right, so what are we talking about?
Temporary disability.
Huh, what's that?
Well, I'm going to add a disclaimer before we go. As we've said many times before, we're not medical professionals, and this time nor are we lawyers. So
We are giving you the basis of our research.
yeah, we're reading to you the facts we found.
But you should always do your own investigation if you think you're going to have temporary disability in the near future.
Especially because a lot of benefits depend on where you live, what state you live in.
And I think also employer, right? Some offer more than what the state actually requires.
Yes and no. If you work for a big nationwide sort of company, then yes. Or again, your union might come into play for some of it.
So let's start off with define what temporary disability is. It is a condition where an individual is unable to work due to medical issues that are expected to last for a limited period of time. Here's you have to be eligible, so that has to be you must have a medical condition that prevents you from working for a certain amount of time, right?
Correct. That amount of time is federally 12 months, but I think that varies a lot depending on the state.
Right. And so like after 12 months period, you would then apply for federal disability, correct?
You would apply for a federal permanent disability after 12 months.
Okay.
Temporary disability.
So we're talking about the process before the full-time permanent.
Correct.
And then you have to apply for, there's an application process.
And as with everything else nowadays, it's strictly online. Go to the Social Security SSA.gov website and fill out the forms online.
Or there's also state-specific programs.
Again, that all depends on your state, and you'd have to look that up on your state government websites. Obviously, there are over 50 of them, so we can't list them all here.
Right, but I think probably the first place that you would look is to your employer.
A lot of employers, yes.
Actually do the application for you and stuff.
As we mentioned before, there's union benefits involved. You have a union rep you can talk to about what they do and don't do for you. And they probably also have a really good understanding of what state laws apply, if that is the case.
And then if you apply for that temporary disability, what type of benefits can you expect?
Well, that will also depend on what state you live in, based on the cost of living estimates by the federal government. But if you started to say, okay, I'm living the past. We had to go through a clerk. If you ask the clerk, they'd know what category your state falls in.
So the exact percentage of income replacement would vary, but it's often, they said, based on our research, is between 40 and 70% of your actual weekly income or monthly or whatever you have.
Right?
And
They don't try to replace all the money you would have earned. They try to give you enough to live on while you're away from work.
which hence is the 40 or 70%.
Right?
We talked about duration being no longer than 12 months or until you're able to return back to work.
Correct.
So there's no predetermined benefit period.
Correct.
I did do some research, and some programs also offer additional support, such as assistance with medical expenses and rehabilitation services until you return to work. Now, would that be like, what is that insurance company that you can purchase? Aflac. What is that?
It's the one that most commonly see
Right. I know there's others, yeah.
advertised. So I'm thinking it is.
Yeah, and so your company or your state,
They help make up both the difference in, if you're in a state with say a 40% allotment of what you're going to make, they're able to kick in a little bit extra so you can pay those bills.
wow, that helps a lot because a lot of times these are unprepared. I mean, you're not prepared. It's been an accident that you've had this injury in.
Sure.
So it's hard to plan financially for that. In addition to all the additional medical expenses that you'll be occurring because of it.
Well, sure. Your medical insurance should cover the costs of medical insurance, but not everyone has medical insurance, or not everyone's insurance will cover all those medical needs.
Yeah, that's right. But if you have any additional questions or you want to look at what your state or the federal government offers, you should go to the SSA or your state's disability program. So we came upon some research, and it was quite interesting. I was a little surprised about the percentages. I'm going to give you what the percentages of the leading cause of the short-term disability claims are. And, let's have a little fun here.
Okay, what's your definition?
Okay, I'm going to give you the causes, and you tell me in what order you think they are, percentage-wise, from highest to lowest.
So you're going to list what the injury is?
Yeah.
Or the category for the injury is?
Right.
I put it in whatever order. Okay,
You got it?
kind of.
Okay.
I'll take a swag.
Okay. So, mental health issues. What percentage do you give that?
I'm going to say...
We're talking out of 100 here.
Okay, you want me to give a percentage or
Yeah.
put it in the order that it's...
Put it in the order that it should be.
Probably right last.
You think so?
I think so.
Why? Why do you think that would be?
Because as we're talking before, I don't think a lot of people will talk about their mental health issues.
Well, I don't think they get help for it until it's too late and something else has happened because of it.
Well, you have to bear in mind that, when you're talking a year of absence from work, you're probably talking inpatient care for your medical condition. So it's either really serious, i.e.,
And because of the
you
stigma.
put it off, or
The stigma. I think there's a lot of stigma, and I think people should be more open to getting help.
well,
It may not lead to disability absence of work, but it may. In some cases, it may.
there's a lot of stigma with mental health issues. If you have a reported mental health issue and you have to apply for disability payments, to cover your absence from work. There are licenses and or permits you have that may be called into question because bureaucrats really will not know how to deal with the issue. For example, I'm going to give an example. In Missouri, if you apply for something related to mental health, and you happen to have a concealed weapons permit, they don't go together. They will revoke your concealed weapons permit. If you're in the bodyguard business and you rely on having that permit, well, granted, you don't need it while you're away from work, but they may take a while to get back to you when you come back to work.
Well, and honestly, that is not such a bad thing. My opinion. All right. So the next.
In my opinion, it's a very bad thing.
Okay. All right. We differ there. But what about pregnancy?
I'd say pregnancy is probably the topmost.
You're right. Yep. So you were right about the mental health.
Most common.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Mental health was at 7.3 of the of claims that were filed, and they didn't give me a year for this, but I'm assuming it's recent. Recent. So pregnancy was, you said, number one, and that is correct. It's 22.3 is the number of disability claims for that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Of course, a lot of companies do not offer pregnancy medical leave.
Yeah, I saw a meme.
Or they're very little, like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that.
I saw a meme once where it was a very unusual. I've never seen about a disabled parking space specifically for pregnant women.
Yeah.
And they had a picture of, some state does that. They had a picture of the space. And the meme was, oh, finally, they have a parking space disabled for chubby guys who like to barbecue. Because you really can't tell what's going on with this tip here. It's just a flat stick.
Was it representative of a pregnant woman, huh?
I think it was supposed to be a pregnant woman, hence the chubbiness. It pushing a stroller, but it looked more like a chubby guy barbecuing. So.
I know here in Missouri we are, because lots of parking lots are considered private property. Our Schnucks, I don't know if Missouri does that for federal locations or not, but our Schnucks store, which is a grocery store, offers pregnancy parking.
Yeah, they can do that because, they own the parking lot.
I want to see, if you sat there and watched, I wonder how many, how we have problems getting into a handicapped spot because everybody's taking them up. I wonder if there'd be any people that aren't pregnant that can park in those.
I'm sure there are, Kate.
Yeah.
They don't care about anything, Kate. Just get the closest spot to the door. It doesn't result in take it.
So, what about digestive disorders such as hernias or gastric issues?
Okay, I'm going to guess that's more towards the middle of the pack, but probably higher than the exact middle. So.
No, actually, it's lower than the exact middle. So that would be like 7.4%. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised a lot of, we live in a very rural community, so the attitude usually is, I'm going to put this medical mumbo jumbo off until I absolutely have to.
Right. Yeah. That's probably true. And, if you have an injury, like a fracture or something like that, you have to take care of it immediately. Where if you're just having a little bit of gas or you have, upset stomach, sometimes those are much more serious, but they don't get taken, people put them off until they can't take it anymore. So I get that. So we just talked about injuries like fractures and sprains, strained muscles and ligaments. What do you think about that one? Before, higher than the digestive or or higher than the pregnancy?
I'm going to say higher because that's bigger than the digestive because, for example, in high school, you can play football and get a fracture, a sprain, or strain or whatever. Your coach suffers the digestive problems.
Especially if you're good at it.
9 guys out of the team have something wrong with them.
Yeah, you're right. That is 11.4% of the claims is injuries such as fractures. So the only thing that's left is musculoskeletal disorders. So we're talking back, spine, knees, hips, shoulders, and other parts. And that represents 18.5 of the claims. And I can see that. I actually thought that would probably be higher than the pregnancy one.
Yeah, it is usually because...
well, it doesn't affect one gender versus the other gender, you know what I mean? It'd be everybody.
Well, I think a lot of that stuff with the back and neck and shoulders and whatnot, actually things can be looked at by a physician and actually fixed within a year.
Yeah, you're right. Time-wise, yeah. So, actually, a lot of the musculoskeletal disorders lead to long-term disability, I assume.
Yeah.
Where not very many of the pregnancies would. I mean, they do some cases, but not necessarily, And then the mental health issue, that there are some that lead into the full-time permanent disability.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Yeah. So when you're on disability, temporary disability, what do you think is probably your biggest thought?
What is my biggest thought?
Now, what if you suddenly became disabled? What do you think is your highest concern?
Well, my experience is you have a lot of doctors shoving different medications at you.
Well, what I was trying to...
really explaining side effects and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. What I was thinking more of was the financial situation.
Well, yeah, that's...
You're going to lose, 70 to 40% of your wages. And most people live hand to mouth, and don't plan for these type of things. So, in thinking of that, so there's... it seems like it's a very important thing to apply to get benefits.
It is very important, yes. I agree.
So what happens if you apply for this disability and you're denied?
Being a bureaucratic arm of the government, I'm sure there's an appeals process.
Right. So if you're denied, the employer by law is required to present reasonable accommodations to a person with disabilities unless it causes undue hardship.
And bear in mind, this is not once you're approved for disability, it's when you inform him
that you have a problem.
You have a problem.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So in your case...
Him or her, I should say.
Yeah, in your case, when you were working as a security guard, we applied for short-term almost as soon as we got as soon as you started going to the doctor and you weren't able to work full-time anymore. But your type of job, there was no they were not able to, because you walked around a mall and you had to be strong enough to take care of issues and stuff like that. So you almost immediately you went on short-term disability.
Yeah, that was a bit different. The issue is not being able to work. It was like, in order to figure out what was going on, I had to take so much time investing into doctor's appointments and all that. It really left no time to work. They would have moved me into a different area that they were able to accommodate me, but I wouldn't have been able to do my job as a security guard now.
Right. So it is also illegal to refuse to grant leave for the temporary disability or to have time off for the medical treatments or recovery. Discrimination can occur if an employee refuses to grant leave or penalizes the employee for taking it. And then there's also, I can see this, harassment, making comments, joking, or other actions that cause it to be a hostile environment for somebody with a temporary disability. Right now, I think because everybody seems to be short workers. I mean, I was just getting my glasses today, and she told me 4 times that there were 2 people short that day or today because they were ill or something was going on with them. So the short people not showing up to work and stuff has caused like a discrimination for people who actually have a temporary disability,
Yeah, I imagine a lot of their coworkers just imagine they're screwing off.
Right. So it does sometimes have bad effects, harassment from other employees and by employer also. And then retaliation. So, that can range from demotions to being disciplined or even termination because of the being discriminated against. And that is considered illegal. So they even have here down job application procedures. So discrimination can occur during the hiring process if the employer does not provide necessary accommodations for temporary disability applicants, such as sign language interpreters for the deaf individuals.
Now, once again, I feel obligated because Palmy used the word illegal. There is no disability police. We're talking illegal in that you can sue them. You have to pursue this civilly as opposed to like criminally.
But there is a law and there is rules based on those laws.
Yeah, as far as I know, the only criminal proceedings will be the fines they levy against employers for violating.
Yeah.
As replace the ADA.
Or you can go to the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission for guidance. Or your lawyer. I mean, that's your last step, I guess.
If you're involved with a lawyer, your first stop should always be that lawyer who's always aware of both state and federal laws.
And then, like we said in the beginning, be aware that some states require a minimum amount of earnings or weeks worked to qualify for these benefits. And the benefit amounts really depends on the employer and the state that you're in. And some actually offer more benefits after 12 months of temporary disability. And it basically is funded differently across all states. Some might be funded by employee payroll deductions. Other may be funded by employees or employers. And it really depends on what the state has for the ruling. But they do have to follow the ADA ruling. Now, I did see that there are a few states that provide for short-term and temporary disability insurance. And that'd be like the AFLAC that we were talking about earlier. It's part of their program.
Yeah, bear in mind it's not AFLAC. You don't have to buy it. it's just pay for out of your taxes.
Well, I'm sure in some part of your salary is paying for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're called taxes, dear.
Only a few states, such as California, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Hawaii, currently have laws providing for this paid short-term and temporary disability insurance. And we lived in Hawaii, and unfortunately, I think it's taken advantage of, too.
A lot of, I lived for a long time in Florida. A lot of southern states, or Hawaii qualifies there also because of the year-round good weather. It's like people involved in construction or construction-like activities often have, say, back injuries, which is not a bad thing, but it's hard to prove or disprove whatever you should do, like get off the
Disability.
get off the
Yeah.
disability and go back to work.
It's kind of strange because we were on the other side. We've been on both sides of it. So Kevin worked as a private investigator in Florida, and that was a lot of his work was going around and trying to disprove temporary disability claims based on visual and what was the other things you would prove it and that they
Visual observation,
yeah
perhaps from myself and from others.
yeah
My job was to try to get photographic evidence of somebody being out and about or working another job when they shouldn't be.
yeah. So we've been on both sides of it, so we get it.
Well, yeah, that also makes it really hard for, the bureaucrats to weed out who should and should not be approved for the program because they don't know if the individual is just faking it. Sometimes,
Well, not faking it. Sometimes you get a little you're one day you might be feeling better than the next day. So
sometimes
there are
as
some people that
with
take
the,
advantage of it. Yeah.
The opioid epidemic, which is more recent, you have doctors or medical professionals who are complicit in the abuse of the system, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, there are always those bad apples.
There are bad apples, yes.
So let's review. So there is a thing called temporary disability. It typically lasts less than 12 months. Your benefits depend on your employer, your state that you're in, but you do have to apply and then work with the system in order to get the benefits that you're entitled to. And you cannot be harassed because you have a temporary disability, same as a permanent disability. And it's all laid out there on the ADA. Anything else we need to cover?
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out there. We applied for Social Security disability a long time ago and involved going to the office and having a clerk from the Social Security Administration do all the work. And when it came time, we had to apply for temporary at first. And then when it hit the year mark, go into permanent disability. And that was very easily done. She just called me up and said, "Are you still disabled?" I said, "Yep."
Well, you actually had to have a doctor's statement. We actually had to get a statement from your neurologist to say every 6 months they checked in for almost 3 years. And you didn't see that part of it because I took care of it. But they would send me a piece of paper where I had to go to the doctor. And our doctor actually charged us $25 for these forms. And we'd have to get that form saying that he was still he still was disabled. There was no foreseeable recovery, and just verify, but that did happen. I think it was up to 5 years. We did that every 6 months for 5 years. So there, I don't know what the current requirements are, but once you have the temporary permanent disability, that's what they come in and do.
I think that was for the permit.
No, it wasn't.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay.
See all the things I do for you don't know about? Thank your lucky stars, dude.
Okay, well, do you have anything else, Tom?
No, I don't.
So I guess these people can rest assured we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I do have something. Go on and follow us on Making the Lemonade on YouTube. You'll find it on there. And most recently, I'm showing recipes on how to make high-protein, sugar-free Ninja Creamy ice cream, which we enjoy in the evenings.
If you have suggestions about the podcast or the YouTube channel Making the Lemonade, make sure they have a feature on our website now where you can send us a message. Feel free to, express your opinion, give us some ideas, and tell us what you want to see or hear.
Hey, don't forget to apply for our surprise at the end of the year, where it's going to be a signature artwork from Deanna Ives.
And also, don't forget to share the knowledge of our podcast with others who may need this information.
And don't just listen. We need you to download it. So download it and then listen to it.
That's not true. I asked that question
Oh, really?
of the podcast host. They count it as a download if it's listened to or downloaded.
Oh.
So as long as you're on the website and listen to it there, you're fine.
Oh, but what if they go to Apple?
You're fine because I'm sure there are better qualified people out there listening that can explain this, but during the application process, we have to submit their RSS feed to whatever hosting service you're getting your podcast from. So it's the same thing. They count it if there's a listen or a download.
Ah, I didn't know that. Live and learn.
I didn't either until I asked that question because they kept calling them downloads. I wanted to make sure we weren't screwing ourselves by not asking people to download it like you just did.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see you happy people next month. See you in June.
See you next time.
We are always looking to improve the podcast, so if you want to hear a specific topic, have a differing opinion, want to add something to the conversation, drop us an email. Our contact information is listed on our website. It's www.whenlifegivesyoulemons.net. We have recently added a companion YouTube channel called Making the Lemonade. If you enjoy the podcast, continue your enjoyment by joining us on YouTube.